We got a dead body in this one.
Dead body right at the front door.
Ford Police Department, open the door!
Break it.
I've never, ever seen anybody like you.
You stabbed me.
I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well.
Jeremy Christian. This is the story of Jeremy Christian, who was arrested for killing 2 men on a train in Portland, Oregon in May 2017. The victims were a retired army officer named Ricky John Best and Taliesin Namkai Mechi. Jeremy also stabbed another person called Micah Fletcher, but Micah survived. Before the attack, Jeremy was recorded shouting racist and anti-Muslim slurs at 2 black teenagers on the train. Other passengers were disturbed by his behavior and tried to intervene, protecting the frightened teenagers. However, instead of calming down, Jeremy became more aggressive and threatened people with a knife. Eventually, he stabbed the victims. After the incident, Jeremy fled the scene but was followed by some passengers who called the police. He was later arrested and showed no remorse for his actions.
You need to be quiet or you're going to be removed from the courtroom.
Alright, you guys can just tell me. I don't know.
During the trial, he even threatened a relative of one of the victims.
You ain't gonna be mayor either, bitch! You ain't gonna be mayor either, I should've killed you, I should've killed you,
Jeremy had a history of criminal behavior, including assaulting a woman and making racist remarks on another train the day before the murders. He identified as a white nationalist and a far-right extremist. In court, Jeremy was disrespectful, but he was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms for the murders, along with an additional 25 years for his previous crimes. Despite his lack of remorse, the judge ensured he faced severe consequences for his actions. Randall Moore. Randall Moore is on trial for the murder of his ex-wife. She had left Moore and obtained a protective order against him, but refused to accept it. He kidnapped her, leading to a hostage situation. Officer Todd Rowland responded to the situation and was shot by Moore, but fortunately survived. During a 911 call, Moore admitted to the murder, saying he only wanted to see his 7-month-old baby. Eventually, the police arrested Moore after breaching the house. He was found guilty on all charges in court.
You give a new meaning to the word evil. I've never, ever seen anybody like you.
When the victim's family read their victim impact statements, Moore showed extreme disrespect and even interrupted Lynch's mother.
The journal she wrote, she hated you. She hated you. You're a loser.
He expressed no remorse for his actions and justified his crimes.
And I'll tell you point blank, I have not 1 ounce of remorse for Tracy Ann's death.
The judge, Joel Novak, condemned Moore's heartless behavior, but acknowledged that the law limits how much he can punish him further.
The court doesn't allow me to punish you any more than I'm doing now. If I could, I would.
Moore was sentenced to 3 life sentences for Lynch's murder and 25 years for shooting Officer Rowland. Kamir Gamet. Kamir Gamet was in court for the murder of her boyfriend Marcel Hill in Michigan in May 2013. She angrily attacked him using various items in their apartment as weapons, leading to his death. When the police arrived, they found Hill dead, and Gamet was covered in blood. They discovered a bloody frying pan, a knife, and a smashed floor light at the scene. Prosecutors presented evidence that she had stabbed Hill multiple times with a knife.
You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed.
During the trial, Gamet claimed self-defense, stating that she thought Hill was an intruder.
Basically at trial, the way I was portrayed, mostly everything was lies. There was a little bit of truth, but mostly I was convicted off of lies.
However, her story didn't hold up under scrutiny, as she knew the victim and his voice. The evidence showed that she had stabbed Hill 12 times and repeatedly struck him with a frying pan. When members of Hill's family read victim impact statements in court, Gamet showed no remorse and even displayed disrespectful behavior like rolling her eyes and smiling.
And you're gonna shut your mouth or I'm gonna have some duct tape put on it.
Well, he attacked
me. We'll wait here for a moment so we can get her quiet.
Judge John McBain threatened to tape her mouth shut to stop her from interrupting the statements.
Send her where she will also die.
Despite her history of domestic abuse, Gamet received a life sentence without the possibility of parole due to her crime severity and disrespectful behavior in court. The judge expressed his strong feelings about her actions and wished her to die in prison.
I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well.
Keith Allen Ferguson. This is a story of 40-year-old Keith Ferguson, who was accused of killing his wife Tiffany Ferguson and his father-in-law James Weber in November 2014. Ferguson faced 12 felony counts, including first and second-degree murders and kidnapping. During an argument about their divorce, Keith assaulted Tiffany and fatally shot her in front of their 4 children. He then took the kids to Tiffany's parents' house, where he killed her father, James. After the murders, Keith barricaded himself in a neighboring house, taking a 59-year-old woman hostage. The standoff with the police lasted 7 hours until Keith eventually surrendered. During his trial, Keith showed no remorse and was disrespectful to the court and everyone present, cursing at the judge and court officials.
I'm not saying nothing because they're gonna see this. They don't need to hear that.
Before his sentencing, Tiffany's best friend read the victim impact statement, revealing how Tiffany had feared Keith, knowing he was in trouble. Keith responded with no interest in seeing or communicating with his kids again, raising questions about his sanity.
You understand me? I'm not doing this in front of these stupid cameras and these inbreds. I'll see y'all in hell.
Ronnie O'Neal III. This is the disturbing story of 29-year-old Ronnie O'Neal III, who faced trial for the double murder of his 9-year-old daughter, Ronnie Eva O'Neal, and his 33-year-old girlfriend, Kenyatta Barron, in Riverdale, Florida, on the evening of March 18th, 2018. Ronnie fatally shot Kenyatta and brutally attacked his daughter with an axe until she died. He also stabbed his 8-year-old son, Ronnie O'Neal IV, leaving him critically wounded. After the horrific murders, Ronnie called 911, claiming to be attacked by white demons and accusing Kenyatta of trying to kill him. He then set the house on fire, but his son managed to escape with severe injuries. During the trial, Ronnie represented himself and cross-examined his son, who bravely testified as a witness for the prosecution.
How you doing, Ronnie?
Good.
It's good to see you, man. Did I hurt you that night?
You stabbed me.
Ronnie showed no remorse for his actions and claimed that his son lied about the events.
And I am not sorry for the things I did do.
Despite his attempts to claim self-defense, Ronnie was found guilty of multiple charges, including first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder. The judge deemed this case the worst she had ever seen. Trevor Summers. Trevor Summers from Tampa, Florida, kidnapped, tried to kill, and raped his ex-wife, Alyssa Mathewson. The police found him guilty. Despite being warned and given a restraining order, he ignored it and attacked Alyssa. He took her to a remote place and continued to hurt her. Even his daughter and wife spoke about his violent behavior during the trial.
He looked me right in the eye and it was terrifying.
Intimidating. I have a lifetime protective order against him and he's going to be right in front of me questioning me.
The jury found him guilty on all counts, and the judge sentenced him to life in prison because of his lack of remorse and respect for the law. Jake Patterson.
We got a dead body in this one. We got a body in here too.
Jake Patterson shocked Wisconsin and the whole United States by breaking into the home of James and Denise Kloss, killing them and kidnapping their 13-year-old daughter, Jamie Lynn Kloss. He held her captive for 88 days in a cabin in the woods, where he treated her badly. Jamie managed to escape and inform the authorities, who caught Patterson soon after. He pleaded guilty to intentional homicide and kidnapping charges and was sentenced to life without parole. During the trial, the prosecutor shared the horrifying details of Jamie's captivity. Patterson kept her in a small space under his bed for long hours and abused her emotionally and physically. He controlled every aspect of her life, including what she ate and wore. Jamie was forced to stay hidden under the bed when he had visitors. Despite the terrible abuse, Jamie found the courage to escape and seek help.
And we were almost home, and she was walking towards me crying, saying, "You gotta help me, you gotta help me."
And she said her name is Jamie Kloss?
Yep.
Patterson had planned the abduction carefully to avoid leaving evidence at the crime scene. His lack of remorse and explanation for his actions showed a troubling lack of empathy. Michael Webb.
Ford Police Department, open the door!
In May 2019, Michael Webb, a 51-year-old man from Texas, made national headlines for abducting an 8-year-old girl walking to school with her mother. This harrowing incident was captured on a surveillance camera, which showed Webb forcibly taking the child and driving away in his vehicle. The abduction triggered a massive search effort by law enforcement officials, who worked tirelessly for 8 hours until they located the child safely in Fort Worth, Texas. Thanks to their diligent efforts, the police were able to track down the vehicle after the abduction, and after a brief standoff with Webb, they rescued the child and apprehended him. The footage of the police rescuing the child was widely shared on social media, and the officer's words, we got her," resonated across the internet, evoking immense relief among the public.
Hey, here she is. Got her, we got her, we got her.
During a 3-hour interview with the FBI, Webb's guilt was established through the evidence that showed he had assaulted the child while she was in his captivity. He was found guilty on all charges in October 2019 and handed a life sentence without the possibility of parole. The presiding judge, Reed O'Connor, rightfully described Webb's actions as heinous, cruel, despicable, and beyond comprehension. Despite crying during the interrogation, Michael Webb showed no remorse when he received his sentence. That concludes this video. Thanks for watching.